Alright, this may seem like a bit of a random video, but it's just some thoughts that I had. And it's not me lecturing or being on a soapbox. It's just as I do my own stuff and keep learning, it's just things that I pass on that would have been helpful to me maybe if I was a little bit further back in my journey. So the point of this video is to say that you really should think of emergency and being prepared for emergencies. Number one, in a common sense way, because that's kind of the theme of this channel. But two, it's kind of a circle within a circle. So it doesn't really help to have like a gas mask but no water. You know what I mean? So really your first goal should be to handle a small emergency, but in a comprehensive way. So a couple years ago, we lost power for about 4 days, power and water. We would get power and water maybe a couple times a day, from a few minutes to maybe an hour, and then it would be back off. So I had to work from home during that time, and I was using this tiny little, I guess you could call it power bank, basically the smallest way to power a pronged plug device. Let me show you what I mean. So this was what I used, and where's the dang, right here. So it's a jackery device, but you can see it has a little prong here, and it's not very big. I mean, it was barely enough to keep a little surface running for a shift. I actually had to daisy chain other packs like this. So anchor ones are great. I had to like daisy chain it to keep juicing this up, and then it was a mess, right? But it barely got me through it. And I did have a little bit of solar panels. I don't remember how many, maybe one or two at the time. So during the day I was able to kind of refill everything, or I would put some stuff in the vehicle and try to run off of that to refuel stuff for the next shift. But needless to say, that's kind of been taken care of. Since then, I've grown. I have grown my power system, and actually I just ordered a pretty big set of things that I'll show you guys when I get here. But so power's kind of done, right? But at the time, right, I was able to at least do 4 days with just this. So I could keep my cell phone charged, and I could keep my small computer running enough to at least work and keep producing some income. And luckily the cell tower still works, so I had data on my phone that I could tether, and I could get internet that way because the Wi-Fi was out, obviously. Now, as far as like water, I always have a ton of water on hand. I mean, cases and cases, and that's just something I've always done, and it has not let me down in certain situations. I also keep a couple of these, which you can get at any sporting goods store, and they're inexpensive. They hold 5 to 6 gallons of water, and they're great for like flushing the toilet, or washing some dishes, or if you need to wash some clothes in a bucket, maybe some water for that. I don't drink tap water because our tap water is not very good here, so that's why I have so much bottled water. But this is great. You can heat up a pot of water to at least warm, and then kind of use that to clean yourself, right? So keep a couple of those always, because also even though I live not in, but like close to a major city, our piping is always having problems. A couple times a year the pipes burst, and then when they finally fix it 2 days later, they turn the pressure on and something outbursts. So multiple times a year I lose water for anywhere from hours to sometimes, it's been close to a week was the longest, I think. So that's just something I've always started to do, because our piping, just even though I live in a modern area close to a big city, it's just not reliable. So I keep a lot of drinking water, and I keep a lot of, or at least some utility water. So you got power, right? Even if all you have is something like this will keep your cell phone charged pretty well. And remember, I'm thinking of like, let's say 24 hours. Let's just go with that, right? 24 hours you need something to drink, you need um, something to power on your phone, because whether you like it or not, no matter how you feel about it, your phone is still the number one communication tool. And the companies have gotten much better about keeping the towers running even during really bad emergencies like hurricanes and stuff like that. They have these mobile units, they can go power with a generator, and people are talking again. So keeping your phone running is priority number one, because that's most likely how you're going to get information, as long as there's some tower your phone can hit, right? So even if it can't, when it does turn back on, you don't want to have a dead phone, right? So even if your cell tower's down and you have no signal, don't have your phone die, because as soon as signal starts running again, you wanna be good to go and immediately know what's going on and what the updates are and be able to talk to people. So it doesn't matter how you feel about it. Well, your phone's gonna die. Well, keep it charged anyways. Keep it on anyways. Keep it charged anyways, because you don't want to miss a signal when it comes. All right. And then obviously some food. Right. I mean, this is just an example, but you eat what you want. I got a ton of food. You gotta have something. And I would say for the first couple days, maybe things you don't need to even heat. I mean, if you have the ability to cook, that's great, but something you can eat cold. It doesn't have to be, not everything has to be like a bounty, right? A feast. Just, it's food, it's calories. If you can eat it cold, you can get calories. It still makes you feel a little better, especially if you have, kids or whatever. So have some food, and then have some sort of defense, because things can go south pretty quick. It doesn't take very long, sometimes hours, for the looters to come out, depending on what you're going through. So have something, right? This is just an example, just something. I would say at least a minimum a handgun, just so you can take it with you if you need to go somewhere. Obviously, your laws are what they are, but I'm just speaking generally. You need to have some way to defend yourself, even if that means a knife, right? You gotta have something, and not just for self-defense, but just utility. You should have a knife on you anyways, because you might get caught outside of home, and a knife is just a tool. It's a great tool. And then light. Never be caught without a flashlight. I have multiple on me all the time when I'm out. I have tons at home. When you're out, if the lights go out, if you're walking around, you don't have a car, or you're not by your car, if you're in a building and all the lights go out, and for whatever, the emergency power doesn't happen, or it's just not enough, if you have a flashlight, you can really save the day for yourself and whoever's around you. So light, always have a flashlight, at least one. And then this is just a flat packed tourniquet that I keep on myself all the time when I leave the house. Some sort of medical, right? Your emergency might start with your car getting into an accident, whether or not that's your fault. It doesn't matter. It could be weather related. It could be somebody else's fault. It could be a intentional thing, like maybe an attack of some kind. But you got to have medical. That's these days, even if you keep it in your car, at least you can maybe get to your car. But the point is, have some sort of medical available quickly. I would say keep at least a tourniquet or combat gauze or something on you, because if you start arterial bleeding, there's no time to go to the car. So what you have on you is what determines if you live or die sometimes. So take it seriously. But here's a part where I promise I'm not saying this to rant or say that I'm better at preparedness or anything, but you really shouldn't be too concerned with what's outside a 24-hour period if you can't handle a 24-hour period. If you have zero water and you live in, let's say, a hot climate, or you have no way to heat yourself and you live in a very cold climate and exposure can kill you in a few hours, right? It's not really that important to worry about cases of soup if you don't have one can of soup, right? If you don't have a case of water, don't worry about 50-gallon totes, right? Start with the easy stuff and then kind of expand from there. I would say 24 hours is a good starting point. If you can't defend yourself, feed yourself, hydrate yourself, and fix yourself, and see where you're going, and keep your basic devices charged. It really doesn't matter. You know, all this stuff going on in the world could come to you, right? And your job is not to survive a month-long war. Your job is to survive one day at a time, which means you have to at least be able to get through the first day. So if you don't have that capability, don't worry about gas masks and radiation and all that stuff if you can't get through a basic 24-hour lights out scenario. Now, ideally, you want to worry about that stuff afterwards, but just don't waste your time with, you know, crates of ammo if you don't even have, you know, something you can... If you can't even go to the mailbox to retrieve your mail without worrying about your safety, and you don't have anything to take with you, it doesn't matter how many thousands of rounds you have, right? So start small, start smart, and then expand outward from there. That's it, just something I thought would help. Hopefully, you know, nobody takes it personal or anything. It's not like that. If you're set, then I guess this video is not for you. But for those of you just starting out, or maybe you're seeing what's going on in the world and you just don't know where to start, plan for a really bad 24-hour period. Think of everything you would need to get through that, and then from there just start building outwardly. But if you don't have that circle, if you got a hole in your circle, then you're not prepared for that amount of time. So if you are new and you're finally seeing that, hey, bad things happen to good people, maybe I should, you know, take care of myself and the people I care about without relying on others, welcome. I will hopefully be making more videos that help you, and that's all I got for this one. See ya.